This is the ultimate question. What phone should I buy today? Not everyone has $1,000 to spend on a phone, but if you have $300 or less, this might be the phone for you. But let's talk about it first. Should you buy the Google Pixel 2 XL in 2019? Hello everyone, this is Matt and this is Real World Review. Check out my social media above and check out the description for some extras. Let's get started. The screen is very similar to the Pixel 2, but better. It has a 6-inch POLED 1440p display with a screen ratio of 18:9, just like the LG V30, except it has two speakers on the top and the bottom of the screen. There was a big issue with screen burn on this phone, but that has been fixed, so to speak, with the software update. The main issue was that the screen was too bright, but it's really easy to prevent screen burn-in nowadays. The colors seem to be not as bright as the LG V30 for some reason, but it's hard to tell. Some things look darker color-wise, but not in a bad way. It's hard to explain, but it's missing maybe 10% of the vibrant colors you get from phones like a Samsung S9. Sure, I'm comparing it to a newer Samsung panel, but still, it's something I noticed, but not everyone will. The screen is slightly curved, but not enough to see it on the outside, but the glass is dramatically curved, making it difficult to put a screen protector on. The bezels are pretty thick, but it makes sense why they are, and it is fairly easy to get used to. There is an always-on display along with double tap to wake, which is always nice to see. There's also an LED for notifications, which defeats the purpose of having an always-on display. Surprisingly, the battery is actually pretty good. When I got this phone, I had the option to change the battery and chose not to because I honestly did not need to. The phone is probably a year and a half old and the battery lasts almost as long as the new battery, so it seemed kind of pointless to change, but that's kind of a good thing if you're looking to buy this phone used. It's fairly easy to squeeze out a lot of screen on time on this phone, but if that's not enough for you, the USB-C power delivery port on the bottom will top off your phone really fast if you're using the 18-watt charger. Getting a day out of this 3,520 mAh battery should be pretty easy to do, and it gives you a chance of 2 days with light usage. Now who cares what a phone does if it isn't fast, right? Well, this phone is pretty fast. Sure, it isn't OnePlus 7 Pro fast, but it's still pretty good, especially for a 2-year-old processor. This phone has the same Snapdragon 835 chip found in the Samsung S8 and the same 4GB of RAM as well, but it performs much better than the Samsung S8. The reason why is because the Pixel 2 XL runs stock Android, and it's actually the most updated version of Android. This phone gets security updates every month, while others don't, making this one of the fastest and most reliable phones out there. Well, except for the newer Pixels obviously, but think. This phone has Android Pie, while the LG G7 ThinQ is still struggling to get Android Pie, and that phone was released after the Pixel 2 XL and has better specs. It shouldn't be too surprising that the Pixel 2 XL is fast even today because stock Android is very light and a very useful operating system. With that said, some might find it boring, but it has all that you really need. Apps run as they should, and everything just works. Lastly, the phone does have front-facing speakers which sound pretty nice, though they don't get as loud as I would prefer, but the sound is still better than most phones with a stereo speaker setup. Of course the cameras are amazing. Rear camera is a single 12.2 megapixel sensor, just like the Nexus 6P and Pixel XL, but with better features and the Pixel Visual Core. This is what makes the Pixel devices so special. The images come out looking amazing, as well as portrait shots, and none of it requires a double or triple camera setup on the back, just one amazing sensor. Not to mention that Google brought back optical image stabilization in this sensor, and they kept the laser autofocusing unit. The 8 megapixel front camera is amazing as well. It's actually kind of funny because it's the same sensor found in the Pixel XL, Nexus 6P, as well as the Nexus 5, except for it's on the back on that phone obviously. It is missing the focusable part that the Nexus 5 had, along with optical image stabilization, but it's still a nice sensor for the front of the Pixel 2 XL. Again, portrait mode with this sensor comes out looking amazing, as it should. As for video recording with the back camera, 4K at 60 frames per second is obviously missing, but 1080p at 60 frames per second looks amazing, as expected. Really, there are very minor drawbacks to having two cameras in 2019, but on this phone, having two sensors just works. Now this phone is almost 2 years old, but it still keeps up with the times. The processor is so good that Google put a barely better one in the Pixel 3a, a weak phone that will be supported for years to come. Sure, 4GB doesn't sound like much, but the phone runs with no issues with the concerning amount of usable RAM. USB-C is on the bottom, and it's kind of surprising because it supports USB 3.1, which I found to be very surprising. I really didn't even know this until I started doing this review. The phone comes in a 64 or 128GB version, which is cool, but like normal Google phones, they don't support memory cards internally. The phone is water resistant, and for that it lacks a headset jack, which Google bragged about on the original Pixel, and then they just got rid of it. It's a weird design choice, but okay. To top it off, it does require an adapter with a built-in DAC, so the cheap aftermarket adapters won't work in this phone. This phone does have Bluetooth 5.0, which will help push you into the wireless future. The sides have the squeeze feature, which is kinda cool, but gimmicky, and also something I forgot about until I was doing this review. Speaking of the frame, it is metal with a little bit of glass on the back, which is a cool design, but it makes it a little bit slippery. However, once you get used to the phone, the slipperiness kind of goes away. It's weird, but it was kind of true, at least with my phone. The cameras, like I said, are amazing, even in 2019, so this is a good thing for the future. The phone is not perfect, but it is a Pixel device, and it will get support for as long as official and unofficial devs are working on it. The latter is of course assuming that your phone is not the stupid Verizon one like I have, and you can unlock the bootloader. What can I say? This phone is almost perfect. Sure, the price is somewhat expensive, but it is a very good phone when you consider the competition. Google knows how to get companies to put together amazing phones, and sure, there are some drawbacks like lack of a headset jack and wireless charging. And for the $300 or less price point for a used one, it seems like an expensive phone, but it is so worth it. And that's all I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and be prepared for more videos in the future. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below or on Twitter at MattofRWR. And feel free to follow me on the social media listed above. Subscribe to my channel so you can see more review videos like this, as well as some repair videos. And hit that bell button so then YouTube knows you're serious. Thanks for watching.